Hello, everybody. What's up? We're starting a new candidates match that we're going to look at, and we're going back in time to 1992, and we're going to look at the Karpov and Nigel Short. And this match took place in Linares, and we start right at game one. Just a quick background. Karpov had been a mainstay for the World Championship since 1974 when he first faced Victor Korchnoi after Bobby Fischer abdicated the title. So he had always been part of the World Championship match from 1974 all the way up to 1990. And Karpov was trying to was playing in this candidate cycle for a chance to face Gary Kasparov, who was then the reigning world champion, for uh, a fifth time actually. That would have been five times he had played Kasparov if he faced Kasparov in 1993. Karpov had faced him as sitting world champion in '84. That match was canceled. There's a big story around that. Then '85, he actually lost the title to Kasparov. Then '86 and '87, and then in 1990. So a lot of world championship games for Karpov. At this time, Karpov was a very strong grandmaster. He was still ranked number two in the world behind Gary Kasparov at 41 years old. And Nigel Short was a spring chicken. He was 26 years old. Karpov came to the venue with his two seconds, Mikhail Pajits and Vladimir Apetian. And he also had a parapsychologist with him, a guy named Mr. Zaganov, who would actually come and stare at Nigel Short during the games. So that was interesting. Nigel Short, interestingly enough, had for his second Lubaj Kavalek, who was actually Bobby Fischer's second when he won the world title against Bobby Fischer. So let's get right into it. Karpov in game one had the white pieces, and Short, who was the underdog, had the black pieces. So d4 from Karpov, knight f6, c4, and can you guess what was played here? You probably didn't guess it, but e5, the Budapest Gambit. uh, it just showed that Short was just an amazing spirit in this match. Um, I like this move here because it just he's playing the person, and by this time it was known that okay, if you have a dry position, a dry technical position against Karpov, Karpov is the master in such positions with Capablanca-like precision. So the book on Karpov, was to drag him into tactical melees and complications. And it is in these times that Karpov would sometimes blunder. Another strategy against Karpov is to get him tired. He would have problems with fatigue, as manifested in the 1984 match, where after getting that famous 5-0 lead on Kasparov, couldn't close the deal, and the match wound up getting canceled because of health reasons. So as he got older, he would fade, and I think Short's strategy was just to put him under immense pressure, constant attacks, and not allow Karpov to get the dry technical positions that he was so proficient in. So that's why I praise this move e5, just to get Karpov out of his comfort zone. Karpov takes, d takes e5, knight g4, bishop f4, knight c6, knight f3, and bishop b4 check. Now there's two major choices here. One is knight c3, and the other is what was chosen in the game. If knight c3, then white has to deal with the pawn structure being damaged. So, for example, after f6, knight takes f6. Actually, sometimes this gets taken first. Then knight takes f6. But anyway, this is usually the pawn structure that white ends up with. He he's still up a pawn, but the quality of the pawn is low. And white scores good from this position too. But this is not Anatoly style. Remember, he's probably taken by surprise by the opening one, and two, he doesn't play those type of positions normally with those type of pawn structures. So Karpov chooses a very solid line. He plays knight bd2. He says, okay, take the pawn back, but I'll, uh, seek for a better position. Queen e7. Karpov just develops calmly, and I actually like the way he handles this position. So knight g takes e5. Knight takes, bishop e2. Just real simple play from Karpov. Castles, d6 to let the bishop out on c8 from short. And now I love this move that Karpov plays. Super simple and indicative of his style. Knight b3. And it looks innocuous, but what knight b3 does, it basically, for all intents and purposes, it forces black into accepting double pawns, right? A compromised pawn structure, because the dark square bishop has no targets and nowhere to go now. So knight b3, and a3 is coming up next. So b6, a3, and now where's the bishop go? Bishop c5, knight takes, b takes. And you see how Anatoly just secured a small advantage in the bishop here and slightly better pawn structure. This right here is what Anatoly Karpov wants and what he specializes in. Okay, this is what he grinds. He grinds opponents down from simple positions like this. So the battle in the match, okay, it's whoever style is going to win out. Is it going to be the attacking, aggressive style of Nigel Short, creating melees on the board, or is it going to be Karpov taking those attempts at creating havoc on the board by Short and just turning him around and coming into positions like this where he's just slightly inferior? So in this particular opening, Karpov won out. So b takes c5 was played just to show you if d takes c5, that will be a blunder, because after queen d5, the rook on a8 is attacked and the knight on e5 simultaneously. And play could go like that, for example. And black has no compensation for his losses. So he plays b takes c5, which is correct. And some more instructional play by Karpov. b4, attacking the c5 pawn. And now knight d7. Nigel does not want to play this move. C takes b4. A takes b4, where white has a nice positional advantage after, let's say bishop e6, attacking the c pawn. We'll go here, queen d4. And let's say rook fd8. Nice simple chess. h3. So white has the two bishops, and he has attack on this h pawn, where he can, a pawn, where he can build up, double the rooks, and attack this pawn. And again, he has a small advantage, but it's persistent. So for instance, after f6, trying to secure this knight, move like d5, nice positional move, keeping this pawn and this pawn in check. Okay, it just keeps black under pressure and white in control. This is why Nigel doesn't capture. Instead, he plays knight d7. Of course, now if he captures, he can just come in with the knight. The a file remains closed. Bishop g4. And now here's a monkey wrench in the position. Now, Nigel plays this move a5. And now Karpov plays in typical Karpovian style. He just simply removes the knight. Bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7. And now he messes up Nigel's pawn structure. And just plays queen d5. He doesn't even bother snatching that pawn, but he just puts pressure on another pawn, which is in this case c5. Rook to a6. Queen e5, offering the endgame. And Nigel avoids it. But interesting enough, after queen takes e5, bishop takes e5, bishop e6, white still has an advantage. With the opposite bishops might be difficult to convert here. However, it's probably counterintuitive to trade the queens here, because Nigel's probably looking at his pawn structure, saying, hey, I can't go into this endgame right now. So rook e6. He gives up a pawn. And at this point, Karpov is clearly better. Queen b7. Queen e8. Rook a b1. h5. Nigel trying to stir up some attacking chances. f3. Bishop c6. Queen b2. h4. Just cool play by Karpov. h3, just coolly dealing with the threats as they come. And just maintaining a better position. Queen g6. Now queen c3, attacking a5, a4, rook f2, rook ce8, rook d1. Now queen h5, queen c2, queen g6, king h1. So there's no funny stuff with, say, bishop takes f3 down the road. Queen f6, queen b2. No trade there. Queen e7. Now rook fd2. g5. Bishop d6. Queen f7. And again, there's really no need for big explanation. Nigel knows that he's, pretty much lost, so he's just trying to create tactical problems around Black's king. Excuse me, around White's king, and Karpov is just dealing with all the threats, optimizing his pieces, and going from there. So now he decides the tree is ripe to pluck off the fruit, so he takes the c5 pawn. g4, of course, last-ditch effort. F takes g4, F takes g4, and now rook f2. Queen h5, queen e2, rook g6, rook d6, and now Short actually makes a blunder here. Even though he was in an inferior position, at least he was putting pressure. And this is kind of what he wants to do. Even though this game didn't turn out well for him, these are the type of positions that you want Karpov to be in. This kind of messy positions where it's not 100% clear all the time. This position, this game didn't work out for him, but Short is setting a blueprint for how he wants the games to go. And what's more important than one particular game is in a match is setting the tempo. And if you can dictate the style of games that's going to be played via opening, transposition, what have you, then you're going to have an advantage over the course of an eight game match. Here, unfortunately for Short, he, in his pursuit of activity, he blunders and plays rook e4. Here Karpov plays rook d8, which is good, but even stronger than that is just queen d3. Okay, just paralyzing the rook on e4 because the rook on g6 will be captured. So say for instance rook g5 and now just rook takes c6. So for example, if sorry about that, after rook e4, after queen d3, if rook takes d6, then just simply queen takes d6, and the threats to the 7th and 8th ranks are just is too much. So rook d8 was played instead by Karpov, so he missed the strongest continuation there, queen d3. Lucky for him, he's still winning. King h7. This is another move that kind of slams the door shut on Nigel Short's chances. Of course, his best move probably was rook e8, but he realizes, hey, I need to mate. I'm down, 2 pawns. I need to mate white, so he just keeps going for it, and this eventually leads to his defeat in game one. And after queen b2 check by Karpov, Nigel Short resigned here. So for example, after queen b2, queen e5, bishop d4, this forces the exchange to be given up. Rook takes d4, and and that's a wrap. Instead of queen b2, even bishop d4 here is very strong for white. So good showing from Anatoly Karpov. The surprise opening, offbeat opening, and he was able to turn it around and kind of defang the Budapest. He took all the aggression out of it by playing that line where he didn't play knight to c3. He played a quiet line, a quiet variation where he gave back the pawn, and then he just simply doubled up the black pawns on the queen side, and he went from there, just being Karpov. And so let's go back to it real quick. So instead of playing knight c3 there, he just played this quiet line here, and gain a reasonable position here. All right. So that is it for game one. And stick around. We're gonna put it in the playlist, and as we continue to make the videos, they'll all be chronologically organized in the playlist, and you could look at them later on. But please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.